turn it on.
Thanks, sir. Sounds like it's working fine.
Sounds like we need to back up.
All right. Thank you for coming to our September board meeting. And as we get started, there is a sign-up sheet in the back that if you have not signed, we request that you do that. And at this time, I want to call this meeting to order. If you would do a silent roll call, please. And let's see. Trustee Sukan will be giving the prayer, and then Andrew Ashcraft will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Our Father in heaven, we come before you tonight, thankful for our many blessings. We ask that you would please watch over us and guide us and help us to make the decisions that are in the best interest of the kids and the community that we live in. And we ask that you will give us a safe harvest season this year, and we thank you for all the bounty that you provide. We say these things in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and please be seated. Find my chair.
Careful.
It ran away from me. Okay, we have before us our agenda for the evening. Does anyone have any comments or questions regarding the agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion for approval of tonight's agenda. Motion by Mr. Parker. Second by Mrs. Anderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have an agenda. Did anyone have any comments or questions regarding the consent agenda? Hearing none, the consent agenda is adopted by unanimous consent. And normally we would have student representatives. Do we have either Minico or Mount Harrison here? Okay. Oh, Minico? Come on. Yeah. Yes, please. And in the future, you're welcome to sit right over here.
You're like, you don't have to hold it up. You can just put it right.
Okay. Oh, I'm loud. Okay. So sorry. Okay. I wanna welcome everyone back from summer. I'm kind of sad that it's over already, but I'm excited about this new year, this new scholar year. Starting with the back to school bash, that was an absolutely success. Also, that day, it was the 19th of August. We had our first game of the season, our football game, and we did great. We won. I'm not too sure about the score, but we did great. Not mentioning about the food that we had of the clubs, it was pretty good. Moving on, I would like to talk about sports, and I would like to mention our sports playing right now. It's football, cross country, volleyball, soccer, and especially to golf. That it's their first year playing on fall, so they're pretty excited about the warm weather and all of that. Um, Moving on, we have homecoming. We had so much fun with our activities, and if you ask me, it was so hot. Oh my goodness! And we did dress up days. My favorite was Adam Sandler team. Everyone was like, yeah. And well, however, that day, a student body was helping at the square for Flag Day. With the fifth graders, we helped to rotate stations, and then we helped them with we brought them lunch, and we did all kind of activities with them. Also, I would like to thank the Wilson Theater for letting us use it for our homecoming dance that took place that Saturday. Also, Minico received some grants this month, and we are really grateful for those. Finishing off this month we have the Super Bowl. We're starting this week, and it will end on Thursday. And we hope to get enough cans, to help our community and also to feed Burley. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you mind reminding me of your name? Ellie. Thank you. Thank you, Ellie, and we appreciate, like I said, this is your spot at the beginning of the meetings from now on, okay? All right. For good news tonight, we are going to hear from first the Europa Co-op and then West Minico, from West Minico, and then Rupert Elementary. So, is that you, Miss Miller? Them. Is this the group that went to NASA?
Is there a microphone there? Yes. Okay.
If you, a little button, push it till it's blue.
You're in charge of stuff.
So should we go?
Like whatever. If somebody's got it, so we'll just make tell them about the trip.
Okay. Is that okay. So for the first one, it's just a picture of the sign to the Kennedy Space Center before we got there. And there's all of us in front of a NASA logo, giant NASA logo. And there's like the whole area that they had. Yeah, and you can kind of see in the background they had what they called like the rocket garden, and they had a whole bunch of models of the old rockets that they use.
Models, they are the real rockets that they use.
Oh yeah, sorry. We went there because we won a national challenge for the middle school division, and it was basically we had to do a whole bunch of coding and learning about space and all that kind of stuff.
So our topic was the planet Europa, and we had to like make a map about it, rover, and we won. We got first, and yeah, we used drones. We did a lot of coding, a lot of robotics. Very informative. Learned a lot of stuff.
There's the NASA.
That's where they make the rockets.
Yeah, it's the vehicle assembly. Is it center or just building?
So I actually wrote a little thing about it. So that flag on the building it's actually painted on there, but the blue part of it is the same size as an NBA basketball court with all the stars in it. And then the stripes, we were in a charter bus driving along, and they were telling us about it. And you could drive the charter bus down every single one of those stripes because that's how big that flag is.
Each stripe was as big as a real thing.
Yeah. And then that is the world's biggest one-story building in the world. And the doors on it, too. There's doors on the other side. They're sometimes open, sometimes not, because the whole rocket is on a little platform that drives, and they have to pull the whole rocket out of that building. So they have the world's biggest doors on it, too.
And there's just a side profile of
Those
it.
are the doors, the gray lines.
Mm-hmm. And that's a zoomed in picture of the
That's called the STS.
Yeah.
It's the really big land crawler.
It's the platform that they roll the rockets out on.
Yeah, they can only move it half a mile an hour. Otherwise, it might damage stuff or something. And
It burns a lot of
yeah, it burns a lot of fuel. It can only move, I'm pretty sure, what is it, like 46 feet per gallon?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it costs a lot of money just to move it.
There's only 2 of them in the entire
Oh, yeah.
world right now. So they got a lot of stuff by themselves.
It's the Apollo Center.
Oh, so we went to like. Okay, so after the bus tour, they took us to this place. It's like the Apollo, like mission center. Okay, that's where we learned about like the Apollo missions. And when we got there, we went through this little show about how the Apollo mission started, and then on I think it was Apollo 8, they had like 3 separate shows in a row, and it was Apollo 8 that they talked about probably the most. That was the one that they finally got to the moon, actually got liftoff.
There's a picture they had like a model, or not a model, like a life size diorama thing of what the control room actually looked like in in the year that they launched it. Oh, I thought
This was
wasn't it a
the
restoration?
control room.
Oh, I thought it was a restoration, but yeah, apparently it was the control room that they actually launched the shuttle from. And yeah, we got to watch a presentation about how it was launched and stuff, and it was really interesting. And there they had a to scale model of how big it was, and we couldn't actually fit all of it in one picture because of how big it was. It was massive.
But that's the back.
Can you stay on that?
That's the engines.
So we went and watched a rocket launch. They didn't have anything planned. So when they first started it, they're like, if you win, there's going to be a rocket launch. And then we got to Florida and they're like, we don't know if there's going to be a rocket launch or not. But we got there. And then the second day, they're like, yay, there's a rocket launch. And we were pretty happy about that. It wasn't a really important rocket launch, not really wide known or anything. It went to just out of space. It didn't go to any planets. It was a Falcon 9 designed by SpaceX, one of the newest rockets out there. It can lift off by itself and land by itself. No humans needed. It does it all by itself.
And it landed
What time of day was the launch at?
8 o'clock.
In the evening?
It was
Morning.
so hot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It would. We
It
like
was bad.
drip sweat. It was
it
horrible.
was bad. Because we had to sit on bleachers to watch it, and that just reflects the heat. Doesn't make it better. But that rocket right there has 5 times the power of the one that we watched. Those are F1 engines. They're the world's biggest rocket engines right now.
There's just another picture of it, and that's only like the first section of it. I think we have more. Oh, never mind. But yeah, it goes on for like it goes on for quite a ways. It's did they say how big it was or no?
It's a lot over 100 yards.
Yeah. And they did a presentation about the first moon landing with Apollo 11, and it was interesting and informative. And it also was pretty cool to just watch.
That is just a replica of the Atlantis spaceships. The spaceship would hook onto that rocket. That is not the real one, because I don't know if they would let you go touch it if it was the real one. But they were working on it. I don't know what they were doing with it. They were like crawling inside of it. But that's in front of the Atlantis. Well, I don't know.
Building.
Building.
Yeah, building.
That's
There's the actual rocket of the Atlantis. It was a space shuttle, so it basically took off like a rocket, and then it would detach off, like what you just saw in that last picture, like in leaving Earth's atmosphere, and you could reuse all of it, but the orange part, and then this thing would come in and land like an airplane, and they used this for like 10 missions.
yeah. They used it a lot of missions. But that's the legit one. Like, there's no way of touching it. It is the real deal, and it's made out of styrofoam. Actually, it's really compressed styrofoam, which I thought that was really weird.
Yeah, and it like Wesley said, it glides down kind of like an airplane, and then and there's like a side view of it, a panorama, and you can see it opens up on the side or on the top.
That
They
was one of the games, kind of.
That one wasn't the game. That was so they had they had like the cockpit and they split it in half, so they had the 2 seats and stuff. But I want to be a pilot, so I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it's the engine of one of. Is that the Atlantis?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, the Atlantis. There's not really anything to scale on it, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty big.
That's
Oh, that's the actual like. Okay, so they had like this landing simulator for the glider. How you would put it in and land it. They had this simulator, and we had Miss Miller and try it.
Did any of you guys land it?
Yes.
I never was able to. Pretty impressive.
I think we all landed it at
Yeah,
least
some people
once.
did it.
I mean,
I've
it
tried
took like a couple tries.
I've
but-
tried a couple times.
Very cool.
That was
Oh,
one of my
that was
favorites.
the launch simulator. That was awesome.
So they had it was like a roller coaster, but not. It was a stationary roller coaster. So you'd go in, you'd get strapped in and everything, and then before that, you'd go out into a little room with a TV in front of you, and it was like telling you about the launch and the sequence was and how long they have to sit in it. So we went in there, and then we all got strapped in and everything, and then it went up. It went right up horizontal, and then in the rocket launch, it actually leans forward before it goes off, and then it comes back, and then it felt like you were going up because the seats had like cushions and they just go back. It was pretty cool. I liked it.
So yeah, that's the rocket garden that I mentioned earlier. They had, like I said, they had a whole bunch of the models of the rockets that they used to use, and it's cool just being able to go up and seeing like how big they actually were.
It did rain on us there,
Oh yeah.
but it was weird rain. Like it was kind of warm, but not
And
warm.
it was like hail droplet size here.
Yeah,
it
there
was
were some big droplets.
Oh, so they had like the capsule that, and you got to sit in it and just kind of feel a little bit what it was like. It was interesting.
Yeah, they had to sit in those for like 14 hours. You better know who you're sitting with. Yeah. They're wearing their full astronaut suit. They're probably sweating a lot too. They probably had some Febreze in that thing.
That's one of the engines of one of the rockets, and yeah, you can see they made them pretty big for them to work.
Tell them what you're doing, Annika.
In there.
I'm hugging Mars.
That's one of the Mars rovers. It's called like Marvin or something, or Marver. I don't remember. They have a name for it, but like it's fully electric and it's pretty big. I remember seeing a video of like a celebrity and he rode in one of those one time. I don't know if that's the real one, the same one or not, but that was pretty cool. Very futuristic. His tires were circles, like spheres, and then didn't have anything in the middle. It was just a ring and then some like a rim around it. It was weird. Those are all the rovers that they had that went to Mars. Those are all the models. They have up in the very back corner, there's a drone that they actually brought to Mars that flew to see what it'd be like in different gravity. I don't know the names of the rovers, but they were all different.
Oh, so we got to go into for the program. We got to go into this room where they taught us about like problem solving and teamwork, and we got to make these egg drop parachutes out of limited materials, and yeah, it was interesting just kind of figuring that kind of stuff out.
They gave us a like little saran wrap and an egg, and then we put 3 marbles in it. Cause I don't know. You can't actually do this. This is like a class, So everybody who was a part of the roads, they got to go to a class. So she gave us an egg, like a really thin type of paper in a circle, a big one and a little one, and some string. And it was all limited. You couldn't use a lot of it. And then she gave us scissors. So we all had to. Who was split into the groups? Was it?
It was
me.
There's pictures of the groups.
Oh, okay.
there's-
Okay.
Oh wait. That's Andrew.
I'm in the white hat. I was gonna wear it, but I didn't. I really realized-
Nautica, Avery, and I think
Yeah,
Aiden.
that's me. Yeah.
That's Aiden.
And then
Okay.
I think that's me, Brody, and Clark. So yeah.
Okay.
This was the banquet. They kind of like it was like the end of the thing, and they sat us down. We had this huge feast, and they had like basically everything they had from the past couple days there. And then she gave awards, and she like recognized the teams, and then she like congratulated all the people that helped her, and it was kind of cool.
We all got certificates with our names on them.
Oh yeah. Oh, and there's just our picture while they were recognizing our team.
This was the bioluminescent kayaking, which we kind of did on our own. We went, so on like the second day, we went out at like 10, I want to say. And we,
Yeah. So
Oh.
before that, we rented a car. None of the other groups rented any vehicles because how long was our like delay?
our delay was like 8 hours.
Yeah, we were gonna be in
We had
the
to wait at the airport for 8 hours,
So
so we
then we're-
didn't do that.
So we're like, we're gonna go rent a car. We're gonna go to a beach. We're gonna go do some fun stuff. So all the other groups they went to bed, and we went and had some fun.
And it was kind of really cool because like the water glowed when anything touched it. We saw some fish, and then some dolphins came along. Oh, and the reason why it glowed was little micro things.
So the reason it glows is because it's a defense mechanism they use to scare fish away.
Our what do they call it? Our guide, he was the coolest guide ever. Like he was so nice and everything. He was like, "Okay, come on, follow me." And we'd go, and then we'd all be in like a line, and then we'd go right through a school of fish. We'd just see them go phew, all over the place. It was really cool, and it's a lot brighter than it is in the picture. And then if you pick it up with your hand, you can see it's like go down your arm, just the little specks.
He also had a really powerful laser pointer. He could point at something like half mile away, right?
Yeah, he was just pointing it to show us where to go.
And
Because
it would like actually show up.
Yeah, we had to do it in the dark. And then he had these little fish scoopers, so we could scoop up some. There's jellyfish in there, but they don't harm you. They don't sting you or anything. And he said his last group that he had caught one actually. They're really small. They're called cone jellyfish. He called them cone jellies because I don't know. And he ate one actually. He told us he flicked it out of the water and ate it, but he said he threw up after. Minor side effects. And they gave him money for it though, so I would do it too. So we were all hoping we'd catch something. Aiden, did you catch the fish?
No, the fish jumped into me and Brody's kayak, and then Andrew came over and stole it. And then his mom, Mrs. Ashcraft, came over, dumped him out of the boat, and he screamed at her, "I have a fish."
Yeah.
And that was funny.
The fish did die, sadly. But like when he's like, there's stingrays in the water, so if you get on the ground, you don't want to move because if you get stung by him, it's gonna hurt. He said he'd been stung by him before. So she took me out of my kayak, and I was just standing there because I didn't want to move because I was scared of the stingrays in the water. But I mean, it wasn't that bad. I got back in my kayak. It was struggles. It was fun. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a hand in the water. There's two of the kayaks from bird's eye view. And then there's us on the beach the next day.
The last day.
Yeah. No, is that it? Oh, yeah, that's it. Okay.
This is what we did when we had the 8 hour sitting in the airport. This is kind of why we rented the car. We went to the beach and then
We roamed around Cocoa Beach. That's the beach we went to.
yeah,
And then we went to a restaurant that had really good. What were
The
they called?
pitas.
Pitas?
yeah, those
I don't know.
things
What are
were
they called?
amazing.
Those things were
Best
good.
food.
They were like with. What they? What was meat?
It was
I
like
don't
chicken
remember.
with
Yeah, like
lettuce
chicken.
and onions and like
Yeah.
a garlic sauce.
I have a question for you. How many of you have been out of the state of Idaho before? How many of you been to Florida before? Okay. Before this? Nope. This was your first experience there? Okay. We're kind of laughing just because of the excitement you have over the shuttle, and we actually lived through that time frame when those were going off. So to hear you guys describing it was really fun. It's a wonderful place to visit, and thank you for sharing. Do you have one favorite memory for each of you?
Kayaking.
Kayaking.
When Andrew screamed, "I got the fish."
Yeah.
Hugging Mars,
Wesley.
right? It was hugging Mars. No? That wasn't your favorite memory?
Monica, what was your favorite?
The kayaking.
Okay.
So they won this competition. Do they get to play again, or we've got to do
Yeah,
something
we
different?
we can form a team and do it again this year.
But it can't be the same crew.
They can't be like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade would work for the
And
middle school division,
3
or there's a high school division. They could combine, but then we would have to compete with the high school because you have to go with the oldest student on your team. But Andrew said he might come back and be the peer mentor.
I loved it. It was very fun.
So you would say do it again?
Me?
Oh, yeah.
All of you. I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was a great experience. We laughed. We had frustrations. On the plane ride home, I said, "So guys, how was it?" "We're so exhausted." I said, "Then I did my job, because if we came back energized, we wouldn't have done enough." So it was great.
Congratulations for earning this.
Yeah.
And I think it says a lot for your teachers and the school that you go to and your parents and for representing us. Thank you.
Thank you for presenting for us, and congratulations from all of us to you for what you've done. Congratulations. However, you don't get to just go sit down. You have to come shake our hands.
Good presentation. Congratulations. Oh, his surplus list. He said he's going to have all that at the auction in December.
What?
That the ag boosters.
So he's left.
Oh,
He left.
okay. Rupert Elementary, we're waiting for you too.
Okay, so beginning of the year, we're just all trying to find our nice gears to keep moving. So we do have a new logo this year. This is our new logo that they've come up with for this year. Okay, new This is our new staff. We have 2 new special education teachers. We were happy to actually fill 2 special education positions, and they've been a great addition to our building. We have a kindergarten teacher we stole from East, but they stole my 2nd grade, so it was fair. Addison Higgins is our new 1st grade teacher. She's doing an excellent job. Tina Lara is our new secretary, and Mike Hennessy is our new janitor. So we're excited to have all of them on board. We have some new paras, Mrs. Brisbane, Mrs. Molina, Mrs. Ryan, and Mrs. Ward. They have also done great in the change moving over to us, those that are moved over. Our greatest thing this year is I took an allocation and hired a counselor. It has been amazing. She is working one-on-one. She's working with her, helping with her behaviors. She is doing small groups. And she went around, talked to kids in the classroom, and made a little sheet for them to fill out. It was like, how are you feeling? The sun is shining. It's raining. A tornado's going through. Which one? How do you feel at this moment? And then it gives ideas. Why is it family? Is it school? Is it so forth? And it's amazing how many of those kids will just take the grab and fill it out and put it in their box. And then she just tries to touch base with them to see if she can help them. It's been amazing. She has done wonderful.
Behavior-wise, it's awesome to have kind of solutions instead of trying, like discipline stuff. Sometimes it is they need a social skills little group to teach them new skills, and I mean, it's been an amazing resource to have in our building. We have so many kids with a lot of issues.
So we totally love having Courtney with us this year. We have new playground equipment. This is about as far as it's gotten since last December. We had it ordered in some miscommunications and some no reading of emails from some people. I didn't get it fully done until May. Got it ordered. It came in last week. I emailed him when it's going to be put up. He didn't get back to me for almost another week. And then he apologized, sent me the name of the guy. And so today they started it. But then they realized they didn't have concrete ordered, and it wasn't a one day you can come and get it here like they do in other places. Because the people that are installing it are from Montana. So I had to pull some back strings and get some concrete so that they can get it going. So tomorrow they're gonna make it. We are getting a sky tower rope. We are getting a space module. We're getting a couple of spinning mushrooms because our kids like to spin around, and we've already had 3 broken arms this year. We're on a roll.
Yeah, thank you for coming and sharing with us. It's the first chance I've seen the desks all done like that, so that was interesting. I've heard interesting comments about how some rooms they fit better than others.
We are very grateful for him though.
Good. Were there any patron comments turned in? Okay. All right. For discussion topics tonight, we had the certified stipends and the classified options. Mr. Ramsey, would you please just briefly go over that again for us? And
The negotiations last year opted and agreed to was it $1,000 stipend this fiscal. The governor and his crew have opted to give 15, is that the correct number, 15 something for certified teachers.
1,500. The governor had a set aside amount.
I sent that in an email.
you sent it, right?
By how many teachers in the state of Idaho. 1525.
Okay. The email stated 1525, and that's our allotment per certified teacher. Does not include classified. It does not include administrators. We always try to treat our employees similar or equitably, and I was just bringing for discussion for the board to give their input or give me some guidance as to how they would want to address this, or if they wanted to at all.
I thought in the email, I thought the recommendation you had was fair. I thought for administrators, I thought we could do that.
I agree with the equitable.
I agree.
Well, then I would recommend that we put that on the agenda for next month for approval or discussion
Correct.
as an agenda item to vote
That
on.
would be an agenda. Just the business. Just the business. All right. Did anyone have any questions for the transportation technology maintenance or lunch and breakfast numbers reports that were in our board book?
Technology going better now. We had our pickups there for a little bit. Technology.
Did the network went down because the teacher put something else on?
Okay.
And somebody cut a line and called. We're good.
Okay, I have one really quick question, and that is the access points that all got replaced. How big is an access point? I have no clue.
They're about that size.
Like a little alarm clock, aren't they?
Yeah,
Like that box on the wall.
more than half the
A light box.
Okay.
He's looking around to see if he can find something. Those speaker boxes, not the little black boxes underneath. No, bigger than that. The white ones.
They're really a lot of money for a little.
Okay, so it just it helps us with getting the information or the internet to work throughout the whole building. Am I correct?
So an access point is how your device is connecting to the internet.
Okay.
So your Wi-Fi.
And that's why you have to have numerous ones throughout the school.
Yeah. Yep. And so access points can only handle so many devices. So if we have fewer access points and a lot of devices.
So this is something because of our one-to-one devices, you've had to increase.
So we already had one in every classroom, and we just upped the level, so a newer model.
Okay.
We have one in each classroom and one in every
Are they in
office building, or what do we have?
Yeah.
the hallways?
One in every classroom, not hallways.
But like
But
principal's office or the office area in your schools.
Yep. So like in Mr. Ramsey and I's office, there's one in his office is what my wireless device will connect to, and that's
Yeah, but I don't want it.
So like at Rupert Elementary, it is somewhere there
Don't
in the
want it.
office, or it will be, or it is there.
I don't know where for elementaries is. Like, there's probably more than one I would guess because they're forgetting how their office is set up. So every school will vary on how it's.
Did we get these on E-rate 70-30 split, correct? So they need to go, that was a category 2 purchase.
Correct.
Because of the government E-rate, we only pay actually 30% of the purchase price.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just wondered because I guess I hadn't even thought about the fact that they would need to be upgraded, replaced, in the whole schmear. And when they were on this list, I thought, that's a lot of work.
So how often did those have to be upgraded?
5 years.
Okay.
Upgrade just because the technology of your devices is improving. You have to improve all infrastructure.
Everything that goes along with it.
Yeah. Like last year we did switches.
Okay. So that didn't end up being a really quick question. I'm sorry, but thank you. Any other questions regarding any of the reports? Okay. We don't have any policy discussion this month. And did anyone have any questions for Mr. Ramsey on his superintendent report? Does somebody have a nervous twitch?
No, I like it when there's not any questions.
No, I'm hearing something. Really thought maybe it was a nervous twitch that I didn't know about. Let's see. I'm sorry, I forgot my question. Oh, I know what it was. Meet at Ag Site with possible architect. I guess I wanted to know a little bit more information about that.
The land purchase out at Minidoka,
Mm-hmm.
we met a gentleman. Does anybody know who the architect? Well, Rick left. Starts with a J. Mr. Stimson, help me with the other ag teacher. Jessica.
Stapleman.
Miss Stapleman and Miss Kidd and myself met the architect and his number 2, and we discussed placement of a building on that land in relationship to the existing campus, and then the infrastructure for sewer, gas, electric.
Mm.
And he's supposed to come back to Mr. Stimson with a tentative plan.
Okay.
The gist was to get it as close to the campus as we can because of the walking. Kids in ag couldn't get to the class across campus before the tardy bell rings. So there needs to be some logistics worked out as far as
Maybe
what
we
we're
could
going
get
to do.
a people mover like the airport's out.
And this is the land that we just purchased.
Yes, ma'am.
Property. Which
So
one?
we selected architect company then?
No, sir. The you currently have an architect that would gladly do it, but their version of this building is, what was it, $14 million or
So
something?
it is over $10 million.
It was the 6% of the total package, and Mr. Stimson seems to feel that we can get it done more economically.
Great.
So they'll come with a tentative plan, and then you get to
Look at it.
make
Is that
suggestions.
one where we have to go to? Sorry, do we have to go to bid on?
Yes.
Gotcha. That seems like a lot of money.
I just keep telling Mr. Stimson that we have to have a stamped set of plans before we can do anything. And that seems to be the obstacle that we're faced with at this time.
Excellent.
Okay. So, really quick question also, and I hope it's a quick question. Can the Clark property somehow be mowed and get some of the weeds down?
She's got it down.
Oh, okay. It looks a little ragged. Yeah, and when you think perception, as we were discussing in the work session, then people drive by and it doesn't help our perception, let's put it that way. Okay, I was gonna say, I would volunteer a gyro mower.
There's a lot of sapling need a good brush hog.
Okay,
I think so. Well, those trees are inch and a half, 2 inches right up.
any other questions for Mr. Ramsey? Okay, thank you, Mr. Ramsey, for answering my question especially. Then we are down to the Credit Recovery Lab from Mount Harrison. Miss Mag, there you are. Did you want to explain any more, or
Yes.
I had fun reading through the strikeout version. I missed a few things because I thought there was some words missing, found out they weren't. I just wasn't catching them all.
So I just want to start by saying that we've opened up the Credit Recovery Lab to Minico students as well. And the goal there is to help some students be able to stay at Minico and still get caught up. And the idea behind that is because the data really shows that students who are able to stay connected to their school are more likely to be successful. And so Minico has a really rich tradition. So if a kid can stay at Minico, we'd like them to be able to. So we've opened that credit recovery lab, and we've had a few kids who are only behind a couple credits be able to take advantage of that and continue to stay at Minico. That said, we also, kids who don't take advantage of that or who are further behind, we welcome them with open arms at Mount Harrison, and then they can also take advantage of the credit recovery lab. The changes that we have in there, most of the changes are just a change in wording, because when we wrote it initially, we were proposing something that will happen, and now we've been doing it for a couple of years, and so it is happening, and so we've changed the tense. We've also changed what certain people are doing. In the original, you'll see it had like Shanna Lindsay and things like that, and people have changed in our district. So we updated all of that. The only real change to it is that our teachers are asking if they can have more students. So instead of the 5 student limit that we gave them before, they're asking for a 7 student limit. And part of that is driven because we have such a long wait list, and part of that is because we've opened it up to the Minico students. So we have this really long wait list to get into credit recovery. We'd like to expand it to the 7, but we also recognize that we want it to continue to be, because it's such a condensed program, we want to make sure that we're still giving fidelity to it. So there's a lot of one-on-one with the teachers. With the condensed time, we want them to still be able to really give them the stuff that they need to move ahead. So I think that's it. Ms. Politely, you want to add anything, or?
Oh, I just would like to say thank you for the opportunity to let us have credit recovery these past 2 years. We've had lots of success, including graduates that were super seniors be able to be first-time graduates and their families. And so that's just, it's nice to be able to have this available for them. They are taking advantage of it. In working with Minico, we've talked about this culture that is established at Mount Harrison, because we have done it for 2 years. And now that these kids are coming over to us from Minico, there's a little bit of, there's some bumps that we're working out, but they see the value in it, and students are talking and recognizing it. And so it's just, it's nice to be able to work together and see kids get successful and graduated.
So it's 1 quarter for 1 credit, or did I misread something?
Say that again. I just didn't hear
It says that it's the duration of 1 quarter. Oh. So in that time, in one subject, do they get 1 or?
So we have teachers that are contracted to stay for 1 quarter, and students during that time work on a numerous amount of credits in multiple subjects.
Okay, so
to complete a credit, it's 4 days.
Okay.
6 hours.
Okay.
What are the reasons students need to do credit recovery?
We found, so We found a lot of students who would take the same class over and over and over again and fail it over and over and over again. And a lot of times they were failing within, they'd be really close to passing, but then they just continue taking that same class and get very discouraged. So this allows them to actually complete the class at an accelerated pace in kind of a one-on-one with the teacher, which is just changing the instruction to make it more successful. The other reason often is if they've gone over their allotted days for attendance. So we have several students who take it because they had a passing grade, but they were over their days. And one thing that we make sure that everybody understands is credit recovery is not seat time. This is, you have to fulfill the full 6 hours and you have to do all of the projects that are assigned to you by the teacher. And so even if you had 100% in the original class and you missed it because of attendance, you still have to do the projects assigned by this teacher because you're actually being given a new grade by the new teacher. Because they're certified in that, and they are certifying that you have met the requirements, the standards for that content area. Did that answer your question, Dr. Parker?
It does. I have one more question though,
Yes, sir.
and maybe this is the devil's advocate in me. Do some students see this as a easy way to, get their classes out of the way?
Absolutely. In every program that you have, you're going to have people who want to take advantage of it. In this case, though, they had to have completed the credit either at Mount Harrison, Minidoka, or at another school, so they had to have finished the semester. Whether they were over their allotted absences or not, or whether they passed or not, they had to have completed it with at least a 45%. So any student who just blew the class off and either stopped coming, that means they didn't complete it, or got less than a 45%, they're not eligible for credit recovery. They have to retake the class.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? So the real change is just changing that 5 students to 7 students per teacher.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Being a business action item, we can go ahead and approve this if we want to, or if you have further questions. If not, I would entertain a motion for approval or something.
I would move that we approve it.
Okay. Motion by Dr. Parker to approve the change in credit recovery lab.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sukan. Any further questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The modifications on certified salary schedule. Mr. Ramsey, this was just because there was an error, right?
Yes, ma'am, in R1, column 1. We have to turn that into the State Department for approval and I guess double checking us. They sent it back and said your R1 salary amount was not equal to what the state pays, so we had to look at ours and found out it was a mistake, so we fixed it. And I just need, you have to approve the change in salary schedule so that we can resubmit it to the State Department.
And it's supposed to, is this the number it's supposed to be versus this or the other way
Yes,
around?
ma'am. So, no, it's supposed to be 40,700.
Not the 40,800 that's on
Yes.
here. Okay, so it's
It was a
just
typo.
that one. Okay, so the 40,800
Oh,
is
it
on
was
here.
this.
It was the 7.
I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
I apologize.
So it will just get us to where we need to be. Okay, and correct a typo. Does anyone have any further questions? Okay, then I would entertain a motion for approval of the modifications on the certified salary schedule.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the certified salary change.
Okay, motion by Mr. Perez. Thank you. Second by Mrs. Anderson. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. And we've had at our last meeting our continuous improvement plan, the CIP, and it was discussion last time. This time it is for approval. And Mrs. Widmeyer, nothing else has changed, correct?
I just added the data.
The data, that was the only, that you said you would be giving us for this month, so that would be the one change.
Yes, the goals are in red. What we actually performed is in blue.
Okay. Thank you for that. Does anyone have any comments or questions? Is anyone ready to make a motion for approval of our continuous improvement plan?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the SIP, can I say
Okay.
that, or should I say?
You can say SIP plan.
Improvement plan.
Okay.
As presented to us.
Okay. Motion by Mrs. Anderson.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sukan. Further comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have a SIP. All right, we had before us as well the bids for milk and pizza and fuel. And one question was brought up. If the price of fuel drops by some miraculous occurrence, are we locked into paying the higher amount if we take this bid?
I think so.
That's why it's a bid. If it
Yeah,
goes
it's a
up,
lock.
If it goes up, we don't have to pay it, but if it goes down, we still have to pay it.
that would be
That's
my.
how I would think.
That would be
Yeah.
Mrs. Jones, yes.
What if they do not uphold our contract?
Example?
Yeah, example?
Example is they are to fuel every day of the week. And if they do not fuel every day of the week, then they're in the breach of our contract.
You can void that contract if they do not live up to their side of the contract. And
So,
I'm sorry.
wasn't there, yeah, there's a line here that says, can only fuel on Monday and Wednesday. Trying to secure credit line for fuel ourselves when not being filled on site. That's a little addendum at the bottom of it. So I guess my question is, they're still not wanting to fill every day?
They won't fuel every day. They fuel up twice a week, but there's sometimes that they'll show up on like Monday and Wednesday. Last week we didn't have them until Tuesday, Thursday. And our buses can't run that way. We have to have some fuel. So
Yeah, it's kind of essential.
yeah, you would think. So I'm trying to look into doing something a little bit different on that.
Mm-hmm.
What if we were to buy a fuel tank on a trailer and we kept bulk fuel in it, like 500 gallons or 250 gallon tank? I mean,
Let me ask a question. How much fuel does one bus typically hold?
is it like 80 gallons?
60 gallons? Okay.
Do you have one tank or two tanks?
One.
One tank, 60 gallons.
And do most of our buses use that amount of fuel in a day?
They're pushing a lot of miles this year.
Right.
You know, our special needs buses have to be fueled every single day.
Do you know roughly how many gallons a year diesel you use?
A year? I don't know that.
We could ask Mr. Luna to crunch that.
I don't know I know you'd have to have containment, and I don't know how the insurance would view it, but I mean.
Have our own fuel.
Yeah.
Have our own fuel tank truck.
I think there's some EPA issues.
I'm sure there
that
is.
would have to be addressed since it's within the city limits.
We used to have some fuel tanks over there. They were over by the garage itself. I believe right in the alley. I think, and the city ended up having to take them out.
Right.
But, huh?
We also talked about getting rid of some cars and having our drivers fuel
Their own buses
every day.
So going back to the original question, the bid is just for 1 year.
Yes.
Yes.
So one thing in most contract situations is if they're not living up to the contract, we need to record those things, like really record that they're supposed to be here Monday, Wednesday. They showed up Thursday this week, not Wednesday. So that when we go to contract negotiation with them again next year, we have some leverage and say, listen, this is what you presented us last year. This is how you lived up to it. And it gives us at least we have a little bit more control in the next year's negotiation. That would be my recommendation for the long term.
The hardest part is we usually get two different bids from two different companies. This year we have one from one company, and I'm afraid they're going to say, well, you don't like it, that's it. We're not bidding.
Well,
And I don't know what we'll do.
I don't see how you can function with sporadic fuel deliveries.
Not when you have to have gas every day.
Yeah.
That's kind of a big deal.
Are they just out of drivers that can fill?
Well, they're out of drivers, they're out of their trucks break down. There's
Numerous issues.
But wouldn't we be one of their biggest customers as far as consumption?
You would think we would be.
I mean, I don't.
I'm not sure.
I see them fueling those diesel engines on the railroads, engines. And those hold, what, 3,000 gallons?
So the talk is that we, might get some cars and be able to do our own.
Mm-hmm.
That might be something we might have to look into.
The hard thing with the cards, though, is can we hold the contracted price in a situation like that? That's the hard part.
They do this. They do the city. Well, excuse me. I know one company does the city, and they do hold it to that.
If they go to a fuel pump, it's held to that price.
Yeah, they're right here in Rupert.
Okay.
We got to get that tax break because it's school.
It is
fuel.
Yeah. But they.
So let me ask one question. The Bailey Oil Company in Rupert, where you guys, I used to see buses fueling there. They have a for sale sign on it right now. Is it?
It has sold. I'm under the assumption it did sell to a farmer out north of Rupert, and it was not me. So, I've asked that. I've been asked that a lot of times. So it's not me, so I can't double dip. But I have heard that it has sold. We have been in contact with Boonies down there on the far end.
With the Duffins?
We were supposed to have a meeting today, and they had a big to-do over the sugar factory that went out of our control today. So we were going to visit with them.
Okay.
The space there would be a lot more better for us to pull in and pull out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Madam Chair, I suggest that, I don't know, can we hold on this and can we?
I don't
check
know.
the
You tell us.
cards Idea and see what our better option is. I'm just throwing it out there.
Madam Chair.
Sir.
You've gotten one bid on each one of your categories. You will not get another one. Not at this time. It's too late in the year.
Well, I'm not seeing a bid, but wondering about the card because I know the city has cards.
I don't think that would affect our agreement with them if we had our own cars and decided to fuel our own buses. The cards would be through our own school, not through, what is this, Lynch?
Oh,
Lynch.
So what we would do is we would, whatever days they would come and fill, but the days that they wouldn't, we could use
We
the
would have
card
to take
and
the
do
cards and
something
go to
else.
Boonies or.
And then we could keep record.
I think that would be smart. A backup plan.
That would be a
Well,
good idea.
and I think it would be worthwhile to at least look into our own fuel storage.
I do too.
Yeah.
And give
The
you
thing
some.
is on the city property, and that's where it'll be the stickler, because I know.
Unless we could, you know,
Unless we did it at the high school.
someplace else.
Kind of along the lines of the propane tank at a Sequa,
Right.
perhaps.
Park another tank out there.
Maybe they're on the ag.
But you don't want to send all the buses out there to fuel.
How about the ag place? We just could have there.
We can scheme all we want, but in the meantime, we need to know, are we going to approve the 3 bids that we have? And go with what we have since that's what we have, and that seems to be all we're going to get.
So
Not much choice.
not much.
I don't believe we have a choice.
One bid for all of them.
So, with that being said, is anyone willing to make a motion to approve the bids for milk and pizza and fuel that have been submitted?
Can we do it together, or do we just need to read it? D1, D2, and D3, or out loud?
Can we do them all at once? Just approval of bids?
One bid for the pizza, one bid for the and together, or no?
3?
3
Okay.
individual. 3.
He says individual. So, all right. I would entertain a motion for approval of the milk bid presented to us.
Was that not a vote?
Excuse me?
Medical.
Yes. Pretty sure that was medical.
Yep, medical. Madam Chair, I will make the motion to approve the bid for the milk.
Okay, motion by Mr. Sukan,
Second.
second by Mr. Parker, Mr. Dr. Parker. I will decide someday what to call you, I promise. Any questions? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I will entertain a motion for acceptance of the pizza bid that we have from Pizza Hut.
Madam Chair.
Mrs. Anderson?
I propose that we accept the Pizza Hut bid for the pizza for this year's school district.
Okay. Motion by Mrs. Anderson. Second by Mr. Perez. Comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I would entertain a motion for acceptance of the fuel bid as presented tonight.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the fuel bid.
Okay.
From what?
Yes.
From Lynch Oil.
Lynch Oil, yes.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Parker,
Second.
second by Mrs. Anderson. Further comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of bus routes.
Madam Chair, before we go to the approval, I just had a question on the bus routes. Is this just something you guys have taken calendar, or not calendars, but maps and laid out, or do we use a bus software to help?
That is what we do. We manage the.
We don't have software. We ever have anything like that?
Let's explain the situation. That's a sore subject. We had paid what $13,000-$15,000
This is not a good
for
idea,
some
huh?
software that recognized pivot lines, back to pivots as roads, and it was going to send buses up those. So no, this is all their genius.
We actually got through and did a right turn, left turn. So every route, except for my special needs routes, have a right turn, left turn. You turn left on 7th Street, you turn right on B Street, whatever, all the way through. That's what we created, so that way if I have a sub driver, I can just give him, here's the right turn, left turns, here's a map.
Okay.
So, and what times we are picking up in the mornings. And we created that a couple of years ago, I did, and it's just very old. And now Terry and I both do it.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I worked for a company in the past that they did some studies on for every left turn that you have, your accident probability goes up significantly. So we had a software that we ran. Granted, we were in a city. We ran it, and it was almost completely right turns for the service.
Yeah, theoretically, it saves time if you only do right turns.
Yeah. But anyways, thank you. That was a little question about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be nice if we had some software that understood rural areas.
Right.
But at least you can look at the map on the computer though now, so pretty much the same.
All right, any other questions for Ms. Jones, especially on these bus routes?
Sorry, one more question out of this. Is this available that parents or someone could go online and see what the bus route is? Can we make that available online somehow?
Do you want each route available?
I just would think that if I was a parent moving into an area and I was wondering what the bus route looked like, I could easily have access to see what the route for my children looked like. I don't know that I've not been asked about that from any family members or anything, but it just seems with technology maybe we should make it available. Just a thought.
We can work on it.
Okay. Any other questions?
So you want to I'll get it.
If it could be put on the website, that would be wonderful. Is
The
his
maps
suggestion?
themselves, or like the left turn, right turns where they're written
No,
out?
the
Is
maps.
The maps.
Just so that a parent can see that my child's bus is going to go here, here, here. and
Maps they have?
Do you want individual maps put on there? So like Carrie has her route is 49. Do you want me to put that on there? This is route 49. This is where this
If
at.
it's a ton of work that I don't know that it's necessary. I was just wondering with technology being what it is, it would be nice if you could pull and get that. But if it's not available, it's not an easy way to do it.
It's
We have to have it.
maintaining it would be the issue because routes are always changing.
That's true.
And I'll be honest with you, since school started, I think we have added more kids in locations that we have never ever had kids. That people are moving in from Tennessee. Yeah, we moved to Tennessee.
All right.
Yeah. And they bought a house out in nowhere. And we're trying to make sure we get to it. I think it's right there, isn't it? So.
Mine was more as a question, not necessarily we had to do it. I just
Okay.
wanted to see how hard that would be to do.
Hard. Does that answer it?
My only concern with that is safety, because then you've got you're setting it out there for any Joe to look it up and say,
That's a good point.
I can attack a bus right here.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
That is my safety. Or a stop. I can, you know, we have a sexual predator out there. They see our stops. Oh, well, we got these girls getting off this stop. We have this out there, and how do we know that?
Yeah.
I understand it's nice for parents, but
It's a different world than what we were raised in. So I would entertain a motion for approval of the bus routes as presented.
I'm sure I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Sukan,
Second.
second by Mr. Perez. Any further questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of student achievement goals is our next business item. And can anybody tell me, because I don't remember and I didn't look it up, what were last year's goals compared to this year's goals? Are they lower this year, higher this year? Where are we? Or are they the same?
For the most part, they stay the same.
They stayed the same? Okay. You said for the most part. Are there any significant changes?
Let me pull it up.
Elementary's changed because the assessment changed.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
So the assessment, our IRI
Oh,
skill score number,
Mhm.
they renormed it. So our numbers have changed of what the target is. So I guess what proficient is at each grade level has changed.
Okay.
So we had to adjust and recalculate. So we do the same proficiency of September to April, but the testing just changed their actual numbers that they.
Okay, so we really cannot look at last year and this year and see if they're the same.
In a way, yes. When you look at it, yes. Like as far as teachers meeting that proficiency,
Mhm.
it would be comparable, yes.
Okay.
But when we come down to looking at an individual student's score, no.
Okay. And that what we're looking at is the teacher basically.
Right. In elementary, we did adjust the distinguished. We moved it up to 85% of Nebraska to be.
Okay.
The average in elementary, just so you're aware, of percent students that met that target was 86% across all 5 groups. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
All right.
I think it's reasonable.
Okay.
Based on that information.
Okay.
And you said state level, right?
That was the state level?
Well, yeah.
No.
That, what she read you is the number of students that met the target.
Percent
Oh,
of students
sorry.
who met the target.
Okay.
That was the average for grades K-5. So that was very reasonable.
Okay. That helps. Thank you very much. All right. Does anyone else have any questions on these goals? If none, hearing none, then I would ask for a motion to approve the student achievement goals.
I move we approve the student achievement goals.
Okay, motion by Mr. Parker.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Anderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. The policies before us, they're the first three, 1, 2, and 3 are first readings. However, they are minimally changed, or they're just making it match what ISBA policy suggests for us.
Except number 3, and that was the request of the board.
And yes, that one was our request. So the 1 and 2 are the aligning with ISBA. We requested that one, and that is just, they need to let us know why they couldn't get it in on time. So we can actually pass, I believe, all of those with minimal changes, if you're comfortable with it. And then policy number 4, we really don't need to approve, it's just a review that's on here.
Okay.
So,
Do we need to approve them one by one, or can we just do it in a batch?
we can do it, all 3 of them. I will read them and then we can do it as we've been doing on lately, saves a little time. So I'd entertain a motion for approval of policy D340.40, student searches, policy D380.20, disclosure of directory information, and policy D546, it's getting late in the night, .00, staff travel.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the 3 policies as just read by the chair.
Okay, motion by Mr. Perez,
Second.
second by Mr. Sukan. Any further questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And like I said, policies R660.00, evaluation of certificated employees. It's just a review for this time. We usually review it at least once a year. No changes are made. It's just a lot of it's for our own benefit. Okay. Is there any other business or questions anybody has? Hearing none, then I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Madam Chair,
Mrs. Anderson.
I say that we adjourn.
Motion by Mrs. Anderson,
Second.
second by Mrs. Parker. All those in favor say aye.
Wonder why it's taking so long.
I think we're all tired.
Yes, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming.